And there we are. We are live on the air. We made it. And so did you. Hey, let's have a podcast tonight.
Sounds like fun.
I'll go ahead and let's kick this off. Well, thank you for joining us on a Thursday night, and welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. We're going to talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So while you're stuck in freeway traffic, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
That's right, and that means it's time to bring in our monkey for the week. Some say he can lasso a nano cache, and others say he's beaten a NASCAR driver to an FTF. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
I would really hope that we're not going to spend the whole show talking about sizes of lassos, but you know what? Why don't we start by thanking our faithful Denali level supporters? We have 3 Denali level supporters. I don't know where they keep coming from, but this is awesome. Just keep it going. We've got Limax, Team Squirrel, and worldcaching.com. So thank you very much to Limax, Team Squirrel, and worldcaching.com for the Denali level support, and to all our Patreon supporters. Every single one of you is important to us, and we thank you all. We appreciate your support. And folks, if you want to know what on earth I'm talking about and what it means to support this show, why don't you just go on over to cachingNW.com and click the Patreon link. That's right, the Patreon link on the left-hand side there. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. And talking about everything you need to know, we've got a couple of cool guests on the show tonight. We've got Rock Chalk and we've got Ben. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello.
And that's right, we've got these 2 cool guys from Geocaching HQ, and we're going to talk about 3 million geocaches, and we're going to talk about lists and pocket queries, and we're going to answer every possible question you've ever had.
We're going to talk about every one of those caches one at a time.
Yes. That's right.
The first cache was, we've got 8 hours on this run, so we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
We're just going to list it. Go.
Well, speaking of go, something that rhymes with go is glow. Ooh, that was a really rough segue, but hey, you know what? Caching in the Northwest has a badge to spruce up your geocaching.com profile page. Ooh, and we're going to talk about your geocaching.com profile page a little later. But if you want to spruce it up, as it stands right now, it's going to change next week, but we'll talk about that later. Submit a glow or your geocaching log of the week, and you can have a glow badge of your very, very own.
So whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it, because great logs simply makes geocaching better. Send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com or call into 253-693-TFTC or use that handy dandy voicemail tool right there on the website and show us how you glow.
That's right. And who's going to glow this week? Why, is it Duma332? That's how I'm going to pronounce it. They submitted a log, or I don't know if they submitted the log, but they wrote the log back late last year in November. And it reads, well, nothing like making a 2-star terrain into a 5-star terrain to get your blood flowing. What started out as a nice trail quickly turned into one looking like a deer trail. With all the recent rains, it was very muddy, but luckily I was wearing my hiking boots. And because it was also very steep, I was happy to be wearing them. Once I got near ground zero, things looked much better, and I was soon signing the log. My way back down was also interesting. I didn't want to return the way I came in, so I sort of bushwhacked and got stabbed by blackberry thorns, bled like a stuck hog, and got very dirty, but didn't fall, thank goodness. Then I happened to find the trail JT Coffee used at night with just her phone flashlight. How about that one? Then it was an easy way down. Once I was safely down at my car, in hindsight, it was a rather fun adventure. And thanks for keeping this oldie going. I need it for my double Jasmer, and the adventure made the find twice as nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good
Double
log.
Jasmer.
Double Jasmer.
Yeah.
And if you're not bleeding, you're not caching right.
And how many of us have found the trail out from the cache is a whole lot easier than the one going in?
Or a trail, period.
Yeah.
You find a
Yeah.
trail as you're leaving. Yeah.
Oh, that's how I should have come in.
There's trails to caches?
There you go. Spoken like an expert.
Nobody told me.
Well, hey, if you want to tell people about things, unlike trails to geocaches, and you want to tell us about a milestone cache or any kind of cool thing that you're celebrating, why not call it into 253-693-TFTC and share it with the entire Northwest geocaching community. That's right. And in fact, you're going to share it with people outside of the Northwest geocaching community, because I happen to know we get downloads from our podcast from some pretty crazy ass places. So that's awesome. All right. So all you have to do is use our voicemail tool on the website, like our friend Sprouter did.
Hello, caching in the Northwest. This is Sprouter, and I'd like to report a couple milestones. Recently, hashtag Team Squirrel has been out on a couple major road trips, and during that time, I have gotten my 100th letterbox, 100th Earth cache, and my 7,000th overall cache.
Wow.
Have a great podcast, guys. Enjoy listening to you. Bye.
7,000 caches. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Sprouter. Those are some awesome milestones. Thanks for sharing.
That is awesome. And it was great to see Team Squirrel last weekend at the launch of the Richmond Geo Tour, the Canada 150 Geo Tour up here. And not only that, but we had another surprise guest just sort of show up in Canada.
Wasn't a lackey, though.
Wasn't a lackey.
No. But I lack many things. Yes, folks, I made my Canadian debut. I am now an international cacher. I'm a real cacher. I've cached in more than one country. How long have I been caching that I haven't gotten a cache outside of the country? Too long. But yeah, so my passport came weeks early, unexpectedly. And it came on I don't know, what was it, Wednesday, Thursday? And I thought, I can make the event this weekend. So I jumped in the car and drove up on Saturday morning and was able to surprise land monkeys and Brylings and Doramores and Team Squirrels. And I think the people from the U.S. were more surprised than the Canadians were, to be honest with you.
You'd really never been to Canada, Chris?
I have
Is
been
that right?
to Canada, but not while caching was invented.
Really? Wow.
They asked me at the border,
surprising.
when was the last time you were here? And I'm thinking, we came here on our honeymoon 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I think we may have come
They're
once
drumming their fingers.
a
Come on.
couple of years after
Carry the
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there BC before caching.
Yes. Isn't that what BC stands for?
Yeah, something like that.
No, and in the last, well, let's see, when they cut towards, probably in the last 10 years, I just hadn't renewed my passport, didn't have a need for it. And it was one of those things that I should do this. My son is going to Europe this summer, so he needed to renew his passport. Well, we have to drive him there, so let's get ours done as well.
There you go.
Very nice. Well, and speaking of the Richmond Canada 150 Geo Tour, for anybody who hasn't already checked it out or seen it, there is the GeoCoin you can earn if you complete the Geo Tour. Yeah, very nice. So, we just picked ours up today. We went and found the last cache, the 20th cache, and went and
Wait a
claimed
minute.
that coin after work.
That was your cache. You hid it.
Yeah, but us monkeys, we follow the rules. Just because we knew where the cache was doesn't mean we can just, sort of go in and get the coin.
Okay.
We waited. We did it properly. We walked the multi. Monkeys
Well
follow
done.
the rules.
Mhm.
Sometimes
And the
in our favor.
RMCP didn't arrest you or detain you in any way?
I'm sorry, the whom?
The RM, Royal
No.
Mounted Canadian Police, RMCP,
RCMP.
RCM, I don't know, whatever, TCM,
Let's go with
TCPIP.
Mounties. Mounties
I
were.
don't. The Mounties, the police, the people
the
who would
gates were
arrest
down.
people.
The gates were down. It was all good to get in there. So yeah, that's cool. And so there's a comment in here about you can't logify in your own cache. It's not my own cache. We Monkeys built the multi part of the multi cache for the city of Richmond, and Lazy Bones and GeoNav Pros built the actual cache container at the end, which is really cool. In fact, pretty much every cache on that series is really cool. It's the kind of geo series that you can't do unless you're the property owner, the landowner. So
Yeah, there were some very nice caches there. Stark Cacher has me beat. He hasn't been to Canada in 35 years.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, speaking of Canada, let's keep moving on. I've got some news about geocaching in the Metro Vancouver area. If you are going to be coming up this way, or if you live up this way, Metro Van Parks is celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. So they have a passport, not geocaches, not geocoins, but all you have to do is visit the 18 Metro Van Parks, or even a percentage of those, get your passport stamped, or even easier, they have an Android or iPhone app that you can download for free. And that app will allow you to check in at any one of those 18 parks sometime between now and the 22nd of December. And if you check into 5 parks, you get 5 stamps, and that earns you a Metro Parks 50th anniversary sticker. If you visit 10 parks, get 10 stamps. You get a Metro Van 50th anniversary badge, and you get entered into the draws. If you get to 15 parks, you get the sticker, the badge, and a commemorative pin, as well as your draw entry. So, you know what? Download the app. It's a free app. Works fairly well on my Android phone. Check into some parks and earn some rewards, because you know what? You're going to be going to those parks to find geocaches anyways.
Sweet.
Love it. Let's see. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Anything else happening in Canada?
There is. Anything that Caching in the Northwest wants to talk about, or Chris?
Yes.
Of the Northwest?
Yes. How about Canada's Parkland County Geo Tour launches?
How about that?
I thought that was around here, Parkland.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is Alberta's Parkland County. Just launched a 2-part Geo Tour series. The first set of geocaches was released on May 8th. The rest will launch at summer's end. Upon completion, both series of geocachers can receive a 2-part trackable badge. A 2-part Geo Tour, 2-part badge. That's pretty nice. Celebrate Parkland County's pristine lakes and rivers, beautiful wilderness, and quaint hamlets. Be sure to use your experience, or to share your experience using #ExploreParkland. And one day I can read like a real boy.
Alas, poor bad cop. We knew him well. Welcome, Chris of the Northwest.
Long live Chris of the Northwest.
There you go.
Maybe I should read it again. No, I got it.
Well,
you got it.
#FATAS. You can read that.
There we go. I will do that.
All right. Hey, we also want to thank worldcaching.com, because they put together our CETO pack for the April CETO winner. Yeah, you remember that contest, guys? Every CETO event you participated in the month of April, you got an entry into the contest if you sent us your attended log. And we did get a number of entries. And are we going to
We're going to wait till the FATAS.
Ooh, #FATAS to find out who the winner is. So there you go. We'll see if the Chris of the Northwest can run random.org.
Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. You never know. No, actually, I can do this one.
All right.
I've got it set up.
All right. Our guests are getting anxious. Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
One more point to talk about.
Okay.
One more.
Just one.
The hike to Monte Cristo. Wow, I'm really off tonight.
That's a long hike to Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
I once drove a Monte Carlo.
What about Herbie? Didn't Herbie go to Monte Carlo?
Yes.
Okay. But the hike to Monte Cristo is officially canceled.
Postponed.
Postponed. That's a better word. It's been
There you
postponed. The road to the trailhead still isn't open yet, folks. We've had a long, wet winter, and that means extra snow up at higher elevations.
Yeah,
So,
it's a difficulty 12 right now.
well, it just adds 6 or 7 miles one way to the hike. So, but it still can be done. Not by me, but by others.
Let's go.
Okay. So I apologize for that. We're going to pick another date once we know the road is open and everything is safe and secure for us.
So a little more summary and probably before the Going Ape event.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's a great hike.
It really is. I've done it before, and it's an easy hike. I mean, it's 4 miles in. I want to say 900 feet elevation, so not that tough of a hike at all. And it's a ghost town. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any ghosts when you were there, Ben?
I may have left a few ghosts when you have to cross the log over the river.
Yeah,
That's a little bit of fun.
that's a pretty big log, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. Honestly, like I'm just trying to be dramatic. But that is a fun part of the adventure, is crossing that log.
Yeah. And I've heard from or read on other hiking websites that possibly another bridge might be washed out with the rains this winter, but we'll have to see.
Wouldn't surprise me. We've been having a lot of problems with flooding this
Yeah.
winter, or this spring, I should say. All right. Well, hey, you know what? We've already started to slip into talking to our guests, so let's do this officially. We've welcomed Chris and Ben to the show already, but guys, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourselves and your role with geocaching.com?
After you, my friend.
Ben, you go ahead. I'm kind of interested to hear what you do. I'm still not.
Can I
So
tell
why
you
don't you go ahead?
Because you said that we weren't going to fight on this show, Chris.
You
told me we weren't gonna
started.
fight.
You started it before, so I'm just keeping it. We want to make a truce now.
Hey,
In
do we have to
front of
separate
us.
you two?
So I'm going to tell you about what Chris does at HQ.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Chris was hired
Let's
a couple
hey
years
hey
ago
hey hey. Let's
as my PR
let's
manager.
let's each of us tell the world what we think the other person does.
All right. This is a very serious show with a serious audience. I'm going to talk about myself because that's what they're here to hear.
And that's your favorite subject too. So that's
All
In
right.
this corner.
You guys, Chris knows better. Not Chris Lackey Chris, but Chris NorthWest knows better than to put us on the same show. This is probably the last time we'll both be invited.
Well, I have to say, I let Land Monkey do this one, and maybe he didn't know.
I
Oh, no,
think he
knew.
didn't
I
know what
just
he was
figured
getting
this would
into.
be a great show.
Yeah. All right. Bringing it back down. So hi, I'm Ben. I am the product manager for the mobile apps at Geocaching HQ. I've been on the product team, a product manager on the product team for several years now. And so I was a product manager on one of the web teams for a long time before that. Had the pleasure of working on a lot of cool stuff that came out in the last few years. And I think that's some of the stuff we're going to have questions on later. But now I get to work with our awesome mobile team on making the apps better and better every month. That's me.
that was
Okay.
short.
Chris,
I thought that was.
it's your.
Is that it?
Oh, go ahead.
Is that it? No. And also, they asked me to keep Chris busy. So
There it
I
is.
asked for-
Okay.
I
There.
ask for coffee sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes my shoulders hurt and he rubs them. You know, et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
Is
I'm
that it?
mentally filling in the blanks on that one. That's awesome. Your turn, Chris.
Okay. Hi, I'm Chris. I am the PR manager at Geocaching HQ, and I'm also a member of the community volunteer support team, which I've been doing ever since I started at HQ, and then I've been the PR manager for about a year and a half. And so have kind of a dual role. I keep tabs on Ben for about half the day, and then move on to other projects the rest of the day.
Is that just the first half of the day you manage, Ben?
It's more of an average of about 4 hours a
Okay.
day. It's just kind of sprinkled in. Depends on what time he comes in. You know, sometimes
How much
he doesn't show up
paparazzi
till
there
noon.
is that day?
Sometimes he doesn't show up till noon. Other times he comes in on time. You just never know. So it just kind of that determines what I will be doing and when I'll be doing it. But yeah, but that's just kind of an overview, just kind of a general overview.
I'm getting the feeling that there's openings for HR advisors at geocaching.com.
We just hired one.
That's true.
They after a while, after enough Chris, they're like, we're gonna need more.
There were several new
Need
bullet
more.
points on that job description.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I feel like I need to say my name is Chris and I'm a geocacher.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We're kind of a support group here. Okay. So to start off today's show, really, do we need to start off? But we're starting off today's show with feedback from Limax. And we took his email and broke it down into several sections so we would have time to thoroughly answer each question. So we're starting off with, gentlemen, I see you have an upcoming show with Rock Chalk and Ben, and it will be involving lists. I have some questions and comments about them as they relate to the website, the official app, and life in general. First off, I've heard maybe life in general. Maybe we should just do the whole life in general.
Yeah, let's start there.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
Okay. First off, I heard that you can view a map of a list on the Geocachinger app. Is there a reason why this can't be done on the website? I can view my pocket queries, but not the lists I've created.
Well, let's talk about that. That's a very perceptive observation, and also a common request from people. I think I get the sense from the questions I've heard here and other places from Limax that he's been around the game for a while. If you have been around the game for a while, like all you guys have, you know that we've done a lot to kind of change and up-level the lists paradigm over the last couple of years. Bookmark lists, as we all knew and loved them, have been around for quite a while. And they had some uses, but we also saw the opportunity to make them a lot better. One of the things we did was to make them cross-platform entities. They used to be just on the website, but have no presence in the apps. They were surfaced to the API, and so some partners, depending on their interests, had put lists in their apps. But we wanted to make them something that you could manage across platforms, so that's the reason they started to be introduced in the geocaching apps. And of course, once you add caches to the list, mapping that list is a no-brainer. We did that in the apps. As Limax mentioned, that's not possible directly on the website unless you want to make a pocket query of a list and then map the pocket query. And the shortest answer about why you can't on the website is just because we haven't done it yet. But that said, it is on the radar. We have a team that is working on that kind of realm of stuff right now as we speak. They're working on improvements to the map and improvements to how lists interact with the map. I can't give you a timetable for it, but I can say that it's not an if, but a when that will happen.
Awesome. So good things to come.
Yeah.
Always a work in progress.
Never done.
Limax continues his question. He says, next, in regards to the geocaching app, I was quite surprised to find my lists and pocket queries mixed together in one continuous list. As the host of this show know, I'm a glutton for punishment and run about 25 queries twice a week. I had to stumble through all of those just to find the lists that I created. Why are the pocket queries listed first?
That is another good question and very perceptive as to the fine details there. So I'll start with the simple answer. The simple answer of why the pocket queries are listed first when you look in the app is because we're sorting that list of lists, so to speak, by the most recently updated. So each of those, as you go down, you'll see has either a last modified or, in the case of pocket queries, a last generated date. And so If you're like Limax and you're somebody who's regularly generating pocket queries, then those will tend to be the most recently updated things, and that surfaces them up to the top. So for a lot of folks, we have seen that kind of sorting works really effectively. If you're using more of just lists, then the lists that you interact with most frequently tend to float up the top. As in Limax's case, sometimes if you're a kind of combo pocket query and list user, that sorting can produce some bubbling up that you weren't quite expecting. Again, it's something we're aware of. I don't have like an immediate line on when that could change, but it's really good to hear feedback about when that is working and when it's not working for folks.
Great answer.
I think I answered the question. Why are the question was, why are the pocket queries listed first? So
you said because they're newer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. It's a good answer. All right. We now move on to the high protein part of the questions here. It says, in relation to that, I have a beef, get it, with how lists are corrected coordinates, with how lists with corrected coordinates are being handled. One of the lists I keep is puzzles, which I have solved. I think a lot of people do that, which more likely than not have corrected coordinates on them. Or in the Geocachinger app, the puzzles are shown on the map in their original location. Why not the corrected location? It makes it very difficult to see if I'm near a puzzle I've solved, and I can't say I have my list memorized with their coordinates, and that's why I made a list.
So the question in there is, why are they shown at the original location and not the corrected location?
Right.
And I'm not going to lie, I share that beef. It's funny, Chris and I were looking at these questions earlier today, and I actually walked Chris over to a big whiteboard we have with lots of plans right by the mobile team. And I literally showed him where the sticky was, the big Post-it sticky right on that whiteboard, where that exact topic is up there. I believe the specific words on that sticky are solved caches at solved coordinates. So that's my long way of saying, like, again, it's on the radar. It's something that we know there is plenty of room for improvement there, and we absolutely have discussed exactly what Limax is contemplating there, and other people have suggested. That's the good news. The bad news is that the waypoint handling in the app kind of needs an overhaul in general. And so when I've surfaced that question to our mobile development team, they feel like we need to do. It's not a quick win. That's the long story, the short story. Hopefully not long. So we will do it. It is something that again, it's a win, not an F. But that's something that just requires a little more work than we can just pump out the door real quick. And as you all know, there's a lot of things that we want to make better.
Exactly. And it's nice to go with the quick, easy wins first and then build up to the more difficult ones. I understand that process. Okay, he goes on to ask one more thing related to the API. Why is it that the live searches are based on original coordinates? In using both the geocaching app and other apps, again, I run into the difficulty of finding if I'm near a solved puzzle. Thanks for your time.
So I think I understand what this question is saying, and I'm gonna take a stab at it based on that. Again, Chris and I were kind of previewing these earlier and running through things. So the previous question was about how to display them on the map, and different apps handle that differently. This question is just really about how, about how search results get returned through the API. Related in that it sounds like what Limax wants is for search results to return things at their solved coordinates and not at the original coordinates. And again, that is something on the radar. It's that would not be work for the mobile team. That would be work for our API team. And I would need to check in with them, but I'm pretty sure that that's something that they have coming up. If you've been paying attention, you would see that on the web search page, it is returning results in that fashion now. You kind of have to be paying pretty close attention to it. The best way that I'm able to explain it is by drawing it out with circles and flags and waypoints, and that's how I was trying to explain it to Rock Chalk earlier today. But test that out on the web search, and I think you'll find it's working as you'd expect, actually as to both of those two questions. Returning caches in your search, and then when you map those caches, showing them at the solved chords.
Yeah, that's one of those updates you guys kind of snuck in there, I think, because it was over a weekend. We were doing some geocache trip planning, and all of a sudden we noticed, hey, wait a minute, that's where the solved coordinates are.
Yeah.
Pretty sneaky.
Oh, those geocaching folk, they're sneaky.
Limax says, whoa, I hadn't noticed that on the webpage search. I'm going to have to go take a look. So there you go.
Live feedback in real time.
Woo.
All right, so I think Limax was touching on it, but so I'm really curious how they're going to manage the functionality changes from pocket queries to lists.
So I'm going to kind of read between the lines at what I think the question is there. Lists and pocket queries, there's obviously some overlap in terms of what you can do, and there's some things that are different. And the biggest difference of all right now is that lists are a static entity. You add things to a list and it stays that way, and pocket queries, if you download them or if you generate them, it becomes a static entity. But until you do that, they're dynamic. It's a collection of filters that you can run over and over. And we know that's also an important use for pocket queries for people. I think it's the single biggest difference between what you can do with pocket queries and what you can do with lists. So again, I have, over time, I've transitioned from what's going on in kind of like the web realm where pocket queries live to the mobile realm. But like I mentioned, we have one of the web teams has picked up that mantle of what we started with the search and the map, and is working on that still. And I know that kind of question about, we've called it different things over time, about smart lists or safe searches or something that's kind of more like pocket queries is also on their radar. And I would expect to see some updates in that regard over time.
Cool. So I think
I'm hoping that was the meat of the question there.
Yeah, I think so. I think you touched on it. I had a more specific example. So as a lot of geocaches do, I keep a pocket query of unfound caches in a radius from my home location. And every week I run that pocket query and it automatically updates itself with any new caches and events in that circle. That's the dynamic aspect you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know, and I've played around with it, I can create a list from the new search function that does a one-time snapshot, but it's static. And so I think the concern that a lot of people have is there's a rumor that came out that pocket queries are going away, they're being replaced by lists. And so I think you started to address it there, that's not exactly like that.
So here's, anybody who's been paying attention can tell that we haven't been actively developing pocket queries for a while. And we're not kind of pulling any punches about that. There's a lot that's really good and powerful about pocket queries, and in terms of maintenance and development costs, there's a lot that's really tough for us to deal with as an ongoing feature. So our general approach to it has to try and leave everything, make sure pocket queries continue to function. Everything keeps working as expected. It's still there for everybody who's using it and needing it. But over time, to try and replace the uses for pocket queries with something that's easier for us to maintain, and hopefully easier for new folks and existing folks to figure out and use. And you touched on the send to Garmin feature. That's certainly, in terms of like getting content onto your device, is another thing that we worked on recently that kind of starts to, it continues that path. So just in general, what I would say about pocket queries, and this goes for your specific example there, Land Monkey, that we want to keep hearing the feedback on, here's how I use pocket queries, here's what it does for me. And we want to keep having a conversation with the community about, can we do that in a better way? Can we update our technology behind it? And can we end up with something better that still fills that need, but does it in a better way than ever? So, like, for example, one of the things that I'm really excited about as somebody who's pocket queries for a long time, one of the things I love about the Send to Garmin feature is it's on demand. I never have to wait. I click that button and that file is created right away. And that doesn't quite get to your question about updating the results. We still have that dynamic aspect that hasn't been replicated in a different fashion from pocket queries. But the thing that excites me is that as we continue to build it, and when we get there, I expect that you'll have kind of tools to do it that were never available with pocket queries, including kind of that instant gratification factor.
Very cool. Hey, I really appreciate you getting into depth on that, Ben. That's it's helpful for me. I'm sure for lots of our other listeners to get a little more structure around that, because, you know, as always, human beings, we're going to fill in the gaps of information with the stories we make up in our heads. It's the end of the world. Pocket queries are going away.
No, they're not going anywhere soon.
So that's great news. And you know, the feedback on you guys wanting to hear feedback on how folks are using lists and pocket queries and everything is great. What's the best way for people to get that feedback to you guys?
Well, gosh, there's so many ways. I kind of am swimming in it most days. We do pay a lot of attention to what's going on in the forums, especially the release notes threads. There's too many conversations for us to manage. There are a lot of it's just cachers talking to each other in the forums. But especially when we release new features, and there's a release notes thread in there, we welcome people to give feedback there, and I personally try to interact with a lot of folks in the forums when they're giving feedback on new releases about, hey, this is working, this isn't working. So that's a really good way. There's a multitude. The other one that I personally pay a lot of attention to is the comments on the blog, on the official geocaching blog.
Right, because that's where you make notes of a lot of the major release changes. Cool.
And you can also call Ben at his house. Ben, you gave your phone number before, right?
It's 1-800-ROCK CHOC.
Isn't that nice that he has a phone number with my name in it?
That's awesome.
To me, that's the ultimate nod of love and respect. I appreciate that.
And I love him so much that I made that number ring at his house.
I'm going to dial that right now and find out what happens.
All right. Well, if you can pause for a moment from making that call, Chris, I actually have a question for you. It's going to start with a comment, which is thank you. And
welcome.
Thank you. We noted that there was a recent story that Signal is moving to a different part of the world now that he's finished his European tour. He's heading back over to North America and buying himself a pair of red woolen mittens.
That's true. Signal the Frog is coming to Canada. I think some people predicted that this might happen. As I think I even talked with you, Jay, earlier this year. We've talked a few times about Canada's 150th anniversary coming up, and so as part of that celebration, people can earn a Canada Day 2017 souvenir by hosting or attending an event on Saturday, July 1st or Sunday, July 2nd. And so it's kind of our way of joining in the celebration of Canada's big anniversary.
That's awesome. And we appreciate it. And, Donnerstag is nice, but, Canada's 150th celebration, pretty awesome.
Well, I think one thing that was cool about Donnerstag was that it caused people to learn a lot more about that German tradition, and I would imagine that a similar thing will happen with this 150th anniversary, that people will inevitably learn more about that as they're planning their events. I just noticed when I saw a lot of the event listings really around the world during Donnerstag, you would see people sprinkle in facts about Donnerstag, so
Cool.
people all over were getting to learn more about it. And I have to think something similar will happen with the Canada event listings that we see for July 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, we'll have either Timbitstag or Putinstag. I'm not sure.
Dora Moore says in the chat, I hope Signal isn't diabetic. There's going to be a lot of Timbits.
Signal has a wide-ranging diet from what I hear, so I'm sure he'll be able to handle it.
There you go.
Nice. Now, gentlemen, there was an update in the blog talking about updates coming to profiles and dashboards. Can you tell us a little bit about the changes coming here? And maybe what is the profile and dashboard for in your eyes, from your viewpoint?
So this is going to blow everybody's mind. This is what? Is it already? No, here's the mind blower is like neither Chris or I know that much about this project. But
that's not a mind blower. That actually goes for most things.
Okay, fine.
We really want you to just go out on a limb and just tell us everything.
So I'll give you guys two options here. Option one is I could make some stuff up,
and we wouldn't know the difference.
And you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Option two, hint, hint, is how do you feel about a special surprise guest?
Ooh.
Okay. Because
we like that idea.
I happen to know somebody who knows much more about these things of which you ask, and she happens to be sitting right here.
No!
Yay.
Surprise!
What are the odds?
Hi, everybody.
Hello. You do have to introduce yourself. We know who you are.
Sure.
But
Yeah, my name's Jamie. Excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold from last week. But my name's Jamie, and I am one of the product managers for the web teams at Geocaching HQ. And I've been at HQ for about 4 years now and been on the product team for 2 years. Some of you may recognize me from my former role as the user insights analyst, where I gathered feedback for the product team and brought it into products we were developing. So one of the cool things about my job now is that I get to use some of the feedback from my prior role in some of the new projects we're working on now. So it's a really neat follow-on to everything that I used to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening. We're all surprised.
Yay! Kind of fun to have a treat every once in a while, huh? A little surprise for you guys.
Exactly.
When Ben said he was going to bring in somebody else that was proximate to him to speak on this, I was actually expecting a different member of your family.
Lucy, she would tell you guys so much about everything. Yes.
Oh,
she's quite the
no,
talker.
hashtag no filter.
No, not at all. All the emotions, all the words, everything. Yeah.
That's awesome, Jamie. So, hey, Jamie, what can you tell us about the profiles and dashboards?
Yeah, no problem. So I want to give you a little background on how we got here. Our team was challenged to look at engagement of geocachers, and we did some research. And through our research, we were looking at the top motivators and top demotivators for geocaching. And we found out, not that this is any surprise, but geocaching is an incredibly social hobby. People want to go caching with their friends. They want to plan outings with their friends. They want to share what they did last weekend and talk about, oh, I went to this level 5 and it was crazy. They want to share experiences and relate with each other. And so we don't make it very easy on the site to do that at all. And so if we were going to add any kind of functionality, we had to take a look and see where would we add it? And the options were kind of gross. I don't know if you've taken a look at the My page in a while, but a lot of people basically navigate that page by memorization. There's not a lot of organization on the page. When the page was developed, we didn't have designers helping us. figure out where things should go, helping us organize stuff. Things were just kind of plopped here and plopped there, and there wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it at that point in time. So if we wanted to have any kind of social functionality or friend functionality, or make it easier for you to see your events that are coming up near you, or any other kind of functionality like that, we really needed to bring some of these pages out of our old code. We have a legacy code base. It's kind of spaghetti code-ish. You touch one thing and 8 other things unravel. So we need to bring it out of the code base and create some new pages so we could create a solid foundation, so we could add new functionality to it in the future, make it scalable. There was really no way that we could add any new features to the pages that we currently have. So we decided to create some new pages, add some new features this summer. We are doing kind of a different rollout than the way things are typically done on the site, or the way they have been. We wanted to try let's get it out in the hands of the community quickly. Let's just create something. It's not fully featured yet. It's not fully fleshed out yet. There's things that we know we need to change on it, but we wanted to get it in the hands of the community and have the community play with it and get feedback from it, and then slowly, or not slowly, I guess, iterate quickly. So get feedback, make changes, see what people think, get feedback, and continue that cycle all summer long. So it's coming out next Tuesday, which is exciting for us. Cool. It was announced today, thanks to Chris and the marketing team helping with that. We're going to be listening to people's feedback. We're going to be watching how people use the pages to see what links they're clicking on, what links they're not clicking on, things they're getting used, things they're not getting used. And we're going to make changes and try to improve social functionality and make it easier for people to see events coming up near them, and what events their friends are going to, and other neat things like that. Yeah, so that's kind of the background.
Okay. Hey, Jamie, one of the things I noticed is when I read through the blog article that there's going to be a removal of the email function and going to focus on the messaging function.
Yes.
Did you want to maybe address that quickly?
Yeah, we definitely can. We have 2 separate communication systems right now, and it makes a lot of work for the developers to have to manage 2 separate systems. We know that the message center is a little bit buggy right now, or a lot of it buggy, and we're going to be addressing that as we continue forward with our path of shaking out email. We wanted to simplify things on the site, on the page. It makes it easier for the developers to maintain. It's one system. We would like to make changes to the message center to move it completely out of beta and make it stable for everybody and feel like it's a quality product. It was one of those features that kind of was never officially finished. And we recognize that. Like, I'll be transparent about that. It was never officially finished. It kind of was a little bit left to dangle. And so we want to tie up some ends on that and make it stable for everybody to use. So we can move forward with that as the messaging system of HQ and geocaching.
Cool. Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to? Oh, no, go ahead, Chris. Jump in.
No,
there.
I was just going to say thank you for taking the time out of your evening to come and talk to us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
There were many requests to see the baby.
Oh, she's sleeping. She's really cute when she's sleeping too. We could just take the computer up and like show you guys. Adorable. Her hand by her face, her little rump up in the air. It's really cute.
9 o'clock is a hard time to get children on podcasts.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure.
And it's hard for some adults too.
Yeah.
Hey, I just saw something from Brylang come into the chat. Jamie, if you have a moment for one.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It says from Brylang says, I think one of the big questions in the community is around sending answers to questions asked by Earth Cache and virtual cache owners. How will that work when the message center doesn't forward? But I think the message center still will forward. That's a choice that you set to allow.
Yeah, there in your preferences, you can set to send a copy to your email or the
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not going away.
No. Definitely not. And we might make improvements to that as well. Like there's something we've been talking about as far as a checkbox to send a copy to my email when you start a thread in the message center. So then you can always move the conversation out of the message center if you choose to once you start a conversation there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jamie.
Okay, you're welcome. I will hand it back to Ben. Bye, guys.
Dang it, gosh, Ben's back.
Oh man.
Gosh, darn it.
That goes downhill from here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Show was really up-leveled for about 5 minutes, and now it's just kind of...
Now there's only guys to look at. Hey, Chris, we have a question for you. Can you name all 3 million geocaches?
Yes, I can. I've been working on this for a while now.
Yeah.
Do
you want it in alphabetical order or by date?
I wanted it by GC code. Wow, 3 million. That's incredible.
That is.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was curious because Mrs. Land Monkey and I have this story that we've made up about geocaching.com and what goes on in the office there. We want to know, was there a betting pool? Was there a betting pool on the date that you were going to hit the number 3 million in the office?
There was not a betting pool, but there was definitely a watch on it, and we, dating back several months, had John Stanley, mountain bike, running a basically predicting when it would happen. You know, we would check in with him once every few weeks and say, okay, what's the date looking like? And he would come back and say, okay, it's looking like this. And then a couple weeks later, we check again, and it might shift a few days. But he was pretty close. I mean, it'd be interesting to go back and look and see what his first prediction was and how close it was to what it ended up being. But yeah, because we knew that we were going to do some sort of a souvenir, you know, some sort of communication about it, and so our marketing team wanted to be really prepared for when it would happen, and so yeah, we'd been mindful of it for quite a while, but I'm not aware of any March Madness style pool.
but the
maybe Ben was in on that. I don't know.
How about this? We could do a quick poll right now to see how many caches do you think there are as we speak published.
Ooh.
That should get the chat room going.
I've got the number in front of me. I mean, anybody who's not on the air can, all you guys can do what I just did too. But I'm looking at the number.
Boy, I haven't even tracked. I'm going to go with 50,000 over 3 million. 3,050,000.
All right.
Wow.
I don't know why.
That's aggressive. I would have gone a lot lower. I would have said maybe 3 million. I would have said 3,015,000.
Ooh.
There you go.
Pretty close enough. Call him the winner. 3 million. Here, I'm going to refresh.
Okay.
See if it changed. So the live up to the date number is 3,015,909.
Ooh.
There you go.
Hold a party.
The monkey wins again.
Ooh, you win the prize. We have no prize, so thank you very much for winning.
You're welcome.
I was gonna pull a Price is Right and guess 3,015,001.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't get a chance to get it out, but you know. It's
Yes.
That's awesome.
3Ham says he just archived 5 of his to throw off the count.
An archive party. Oh, wait a minute.
You don't do that.
No.
So, Chris, do we know, or will we ever know, what was the 3 millionth cache? Like what we knew the 1 millionth cache was, or the 2 millionth cache?
No, and the reason for that is, well, there were a couple of reasons. One was the reason that we mentioned when we had the blog post for 3 million, was that we wanted it to be more of a celebration of all people that have, you know, been part of getting to that milestone. But then the other thing is that I really don't even know if it's possible to pinpoint exactly which one it is, because you know, caches are constantly being published / archived / you know, disabled, archived, published. You know, it's just, it keeps going and going. What I was getting when Ben had his pool, I'll have another pool. How many caches do you think have ever been published?
Ooh. That would be interesting.
Sounds like you have that number in your head.
I have that number in front of me.
There you go.
Can I play? Can I play?
So I'm going to go aggressive and go 3.5 million.
Okay. Jay?
3.5 million and one.
Oh, there you go.
Wits End?
All right.
Oh, I'll go wild and say 5 million plus. I don't know. 5 million and 2. There you go.
5.3 million.
Oh,
Wow.
hey, there you go.
I had the 3 and the 5 right. Just
Now, does that include
You
events?
did.
wrong order. Wow, 5.3.
Does that include events?
That includes events, but even when you take events out, it's still over 5 million. So yeah, you know, the number, it vacillates so much that that we weren't going to try to pick one. And in the past, when, you know, at 1 million and 2 million, the caches that were recognized as the milestone caches weren't necessarily on the dot the exact cache. You know, in each case, I think they wanted to highlight a solid cache. I mean, I think also, worst case, even if we could figure it out, I mean, I think that the concern is that it ends up being, you know, I mean, every cache is special to somebody, I guess, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's going to be some junky caches out there, and and God forbid everybody says, "Oh, I want to go find number 5 million," and it turns out to be, you know, Ben hid a pill bottle under his mailbox or something, you know. So nobody wants that.
A bison in the cedar tree.
Yeah, a bison in the cedar tree next to his front door, which none of us wants. So no, we honestly don't know exactly which one was number 3 million.
This could be a fun show. We could go through, okay, how many events have been published? How many? We could do a game show.
Sound like a new show, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I put in a plug here?
Yes.
We get some special bells and whistles with admin privileges, but that question of like how many caches are live right now, you can do that on the web search yourself.
Yes, you can. You're right.
Anybody can.
True. And I think a few people in the chat room were doing that.
Nice.
Wouldn't surprise me.
For some reason, Breiling knew more about what was going on than we did.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Well, he is the research department after all.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He knows these things. Well, Chris and Ben, you know, I have to say you two actually kind of got along on this show. I mean, you know, as much as you two can. So I thank you for being civil during the show. I mean, I don't know what goes on during the workday, but here you weren't bad. Is there?
Well, it kind of helped that Jamie showed up. You know,
okay.
I think things were about to go off the rails there, but it kind of leveled out when she always brings calm to the universe. So
everybody's centered.
I would like to present Chris with an award for world's okayest podcast guest.
Wow.
That
the okayest.
Does that come with a cash prize or just
it's
a geocache prize?
Probably.
We've got a Canadian nickel here somewhere.
Film can.
Give him a Canadian penny. You're not using those anymore.
True. I got a whole bunch of those.
Now, hey, is there anything you two would like to share with the listeners of Caching in the Northwest about what's going on at HQ?
I think they probably heard too much already.
I would say that there's a lot coming out. I mean, obviously, you guys know about the profile and dashboard. We talked about that. There's a release coming that Ben has been extremely involved in, a mobile release here in the next week or so that I think will have a couple of things that people will be very pleased with. And it's been kind of a flurry of releases here over the last several weeks, and the teams have been really busy and trying to respond to feedback and to continuing as always to try to improve the apps and the website and keep things rolling along. But in the immediate, like I said, watch for an update to the apps here in the next week or so, and I think people will be happy with what they see.
Very cool.
Love it.
Yeah,
well,
guys,
gentlemen.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna throw in there that you guys have been busy. Not that we assume that the folks at geocaching.com sit on their hands, but the amount of
yes, you do. You just assume that Ben and I sit on our hands, and you're mostly right with Ben and I. But other people work really hard.
There you go. Well, to all those other
hands, Chris, show me your hands.
The conversation
you can't prove you're not sitting on your hands.
Oh dear. But it's great the way that you guys are churning out improvements to the game, to the app, and the website. And I do actually have to say that I appreciate the blog entries where you're sharing what's coming out and giving some context around it. It's really helpful as a geocacher. So
yeah, I would love to follow up just real quick on what Chris said and what you just said, Land Monkey. We have been putting a lot of stuff out, and we're also really cognizant that change is not always welcome or easy for folks who've been playing for a long time. And that's fine. We totally get that. We get that not everybody loves everything when it comes out, or maybe ever. And with that in mind, we really do listen to people's feedback. We somehow get a rap for not listening at all, I think, or that, hey, they're just going to do whatever they want. And it's true that sometimes we head in a direction and we're committed to that direction. And so we're not just going to change because it's not easy right away. But we're always listening to feedback. We take that feedback very seriously. We're also very informed by data and by watching through analytics and through data about how people are using our features and where they're succeeding and where they're not. So as all this change continues to happen, please keep giving us feedback. Please use things, don't use things. We take it all into account as best we can.
Good stuff.
By not using things, you know that? If you don't use it?
We know when a lot of people don't use things. I'm not going to say how much we can tell about individual people. I only have like the best listening devices on RockChalk's account.
Okay.
Through our microwave ovens.
No, I'm not going to. Honestly, though, that was a joke. I don't want to inspire paranoia. The truth is we can't see what any individual user is doing. We do watch how the community is using things and not using things. But no, we are not watching what single people are doing.
And not married people either.
Right.
Yeah, except Chris.
Oh, dear. All right.
Nice. Well, guys, thank you so much for spending time with us this evening. We'll talk a little bit more in the after show, but until then, where can our devoted listeners find you out on the big worldwide interweb?
Ben, where can I find you?
Well, there's this website called geocaching.com.
That sounds cool.
Have you guys heard of it?
No, tell us more.
Oh, boy. Where can they find me on the internet? I'm not going to lie. I don't have a large personal footprint on the internet, so I don't have somewhere to direct you. What do people usually say right now? I don't have a...
I think they usually list out like 12 different social media accounts and
Okay.
websites and stuff. So
That's not me. Hey, for what it's worth, the reason I don't is because I'm out geocaching.
Oh,
I'm working,
so find him on the
or I'm with the
trail.
family, or I'm geocaching, and I'm good with that.
Hey, Chris, can you get him a mobile phone through work?
yeah, I don't think his BlackBerry gets Instagram. So
Where can I find you on the internet?
well, I do have an Instagram account that I occasionally post to whenever I have Jay in my head saying, "Chris, post a photo." So I've been trying to do that. I did that a little bit, Jay, when I think you liked a few of my Europe photos recently. So yeah, so I'm trying to do that every so often. So yeah, I think it's Geo Rock Chalk is my Instagram, and I think maybe yeah, it's probably the best place to see geocaching stuff when I think of it. I'm just going to start posting pictures of Ben at the office, just sitting on his hands.
I'm going to be watching the channel for that now.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, don't you have an infrequently updated blog?
That's exactly what it's called. It's called the Infrequently Updated Blog.
Don't you have a blog?
Yeah, there is one out there.
Okay,
that
I'll see if Pete
has
can find it.
not been frequently updated. That's true.
Well, you've named it properly then.
Yeah, I should get back to that at some point.
You can't
Instagram
now.
is so much easier, It's just like take a photo, caption it, move on with your day.
There you go. Hashtag.
Right.
All right. Hey, well, you know what? Thanks, guys. We really appreciate that. And listeners, it's time for a little Caching in the Northwest clickbait. That's right. Here's what's coming up in the next few weeks of Caching NW podcast. Mr. Chris of the Northwest, what's coming up?
Well, May 25th, big one. That's episode 200 for us. Can you believe we've done this 200 times?
Wow.
And I still can't read properly.
And people still keep coming back.
I know. After that, that's going to be June 1st. We're going to talk with Gold Country Geotourism and Terry Hadwin. Maybe if I speak slower, I could speak more clearly.
My voice is my passport. All right. Well, we're not quite to those episodes yet. So until next week, where can listeners find you guys on the interwebs?
Well, I'll jump in there. The infrequently updated landmonkey.blogspot.ca is also a great place to every once in a while catch some adventures. But if you really want to follow our adventures, we encourage you to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and it's at landmonkeygc. We will repost all of Chris's posts so that you can make sure you see them there. I'll start a new channel. But yeah, at landmonkeygc, follow us there. We're always sharing some crazy stuff from our adventures. And of course, on YouTube, check out the Land Monkeys geocaching adventures. Just search Land Monkey on YouTube. We'd love to have you follow us there. How about you, my friend Wits End?
Oh, easiest is to go find Wits End at Twitter, Facebook, or geocaching.com. The big three. You figure which order they fall in. Chris?
Oh, on those same ones, just look for Caching NW. That could be Twitter, Facebook, or Google+. You know what? Better yet, head on over to cachingnw.com/hosts and read all our bios and find all the links that we mentioned, maybe some we didn't.
That's right. And with that, we'd like to thank you, yes, you, for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Did you know you can be part of the show? Give us a call, 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask us a question, or tell us what's lurking just outside your window anytime, the day or night. Don't worry, it's not human. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com, and your support helps to keep quality shows coming. If you like this show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. This show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2017 by Chris Umfenauer. Oh, yeah. Stay tuned for that other thing.
The after show.
Yeah, that.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. If you have to leave, we certainly understand it. But here's where we get a chance to talk about some of the things that have popped up in the chat that
Wow.
we may or may not have been gotten to. Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. So first off, Land Monkey.
Yeah.
I have to have you turn around and erase the words Monte Cristo from your board there.
Well, here's the thing. What I erased was the date.
Okay.
So I have Monte Cristo. I'm sorry about that, Buckland. I have Monte Cristo and I have GCBC. He says no. Buckland, no. not gonna happen. So it's the reminder that we are going to do this hike with our valued listeners, and we're really I've never done the hike. I'm really excited about doing it. So you can tell me to erase it, but you better just get your butt back up to Canada and erase it yourself.
Be careful, he can come now.
Oh yeah, kind of an idle threat now.
Just watch it. Don't make me come to that country. Okay.
Our timber supply is safe.
You know, I didn't stop in a Tim Hortons the whole time I was there.
Yeah, we didn't slow down enough for you to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
that was quite the cash machine we had going.
It was a lot of fun. And you know, there weren't as many Tim Hortons as I think we have Starbucks here in Seattle. I mean, I thought you could go to 2 blocks down, turn left at the Tim Hortons, go to the next Tim Hortons, turn right, and you'll be no. Anyway,
it depends where you are. That part of Richmond, no, not so much.
Okay. Hey, UDEC started off. Speaking of logging your own cache, is there anything preventing someone from logging another cache twice?
Ooh, Ben, Chris.
Ooh. Timely question.
I think you could until recently.
That is true. We at the end of March, we announced some changes around logging rules. It was previously possible for cache owners to log a find on their own cache. It was also possible to submit multiple found it logs on the same cache. And over the years, the vast majority of the community had not played by those rules and asked us to enforce those rules. And enforcing those rules also made it easier for us to move forward with some other projects that we're doing. So as of quite recently, actually, that is not possible anymore to log a couple finds on the same cache. We've enforced that now on the website, and we're almost done enforcing that rule through the API. So as of right now, it's still kind of in between, but pretty soon you won't be able to do that anywhere.
Nice.
I think it's May 15th, right, Ben? That it's
yeah, that's what we're
sure that's the date. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Wino Seattle's wants to know, are you guys spending any time on Where I Goes?
Chris has a Where I Go cache. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess. Are we spending any time on them personally, going out and finding them? I don't think that's what he was asking. I think he was asking about development of Where I Go.
I'm not going to lie. There's nothing active going on right now. We still there's the ideas that are in Where I Go are very much alive and still good ideas. I was actually just having a conversation with a couple new folks in the office about that recently. That if you're willing to jump through the hoops of creating a Where I Go cache and kind of getting the app and getting the cartridge and all those things, you can still have some really good experiences once you get there. But obviously there's a lot of pretty substantial barriers to getting there with Where I Go as it exists now. So so there's nothing active going on right now for Where I Go. Don't expect any changes on Where I Go itself soon, but there are conversations ongoing about how to create better ways to have those kind of experiences.
Cool. Is this a good time to jump into the questions then that we got from Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, Chris?
Sure. Joshua was listening. I hope he still is. He goes, we really need something new in the game, a new type of cache to find, maybe history caches with a new icon. And that's I'll tell you, that's something I've been pushing for a while, is a history cache, much like what the virtuals were, but, you know, maybe bounced off a historical society rather than the, you know, Earth cache people.
Yeah, that's something that you know, we've had conversations about it. People ask us about it, obviously, and have asked us about it for a while. And kind of what we've always said is that it's not that we're totally closed off to the possibility of something like that, but it also takes two to tango too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason that Earth caches work is because of the GSA and their interest in having that program. It's very valuable to them, and it's also, of course, valuable to us as geocachers. And so it's a very good partnership and has been for many years now. And if we could find a partner like that, you know, some sort of a historical society, then that might be something that we could look into. To this point, that partnership hasn't presented itself. That doesn't mean that it's a, like I said, doesn't mean it's a never type of a deal. It's just it you know, we would need to find the right organization to work with on something like that. So you know, we're open to the possibility, but you know, there's nothing imminent in the works right now.
Excuse me. Very good. Thank you. Let's see. There's one here from 3 Hams in a row. This is speaking of Canada 150. It says many folks are going to be out of town July 1st and 2nd, so attending an event could be tricky.
Well, just plan an event for where you're going.
I was going to say, or hosting an event may be tricky. So
I know I'm in that boat. That was the first thing I thought. I didn't know what the dates for the souvenir were going to be until I found out about them with all you guys. And the first thing I thought is like, oh man, I'm going to be traveling. How am I going to find an event? So,
well, and you know, one thing that we did try to do with that was make it on a weekend. That was one of the frustrations some people had with Donnerstag, was that it was, I think it was on a Thursday, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a one-day deal. And so we thought, okay, let's have it on a weekend. And, you know, that gives 2 days for folks to do something. So we tried to open it up a little bit more. Of course, we want as much participation as possible. And hopefully as many people can do it as they can, you know, on that weekend. Ironically, here in the States, a lot of folks will be off for our holiday, you know, for the 4th of July. So, hey, we've got at least one country where a lot of people will be able to find stuff on that weekend. But, you know, so again, hopefully it being on a weekend and it being 2 days, I imagine that it will make it a lot more accessible for people than maybe Donnerstag was.
Right. And can you remind me, is it you have to attend an event, or is it attend an event or find a cache, or how does that work?
It's an attend or host an event. Yeah.
Okay. Right on. So it
There
does
you
have
go.
to be.
So
Does have to be.
stock up on maple syrup and Timbits.
Well,
You can host an
if you're in
event.
Canada, you don't have to stock up. You already are stocked up.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Right.
But, you know,
I was
you guys are
thinking
welcome to come here and spend your American dollars on Timbits and maple syrup and salmon.
Mm.
You know, bring us.
Don't
your
all those go together?
needs and-
Okay. Let's see. Wino Seattle also says here. Now we jump around topics quite a bit here in the after show. What if I get way off answers to my Earth cache questions? How do I handle the request to log the cache? So, you know, for example, Land Monkey's questions or Land Monkey's answers were correct, but some others cachers' questions were far off. I say,
Well, with
no,
with a yeah, I mean, with whether it's with a virtual or an Earth cache or anything like that that requires answers, if something is just wildly off, and it would imply that the person did not maybe visit the spot or maybe didn't understand what the questions were. You know, what we usually say is, you know, yes, technically you can delete a person's log if that's the case. You know, the the nice thing to do, I think, is generally to contact the person and say, hey, you want to take another shot at this? Maybe you thought you were sending answers to my Earth cache, but you were actually sending it to somebody else's, whatever. And kind of assume best intentions, because a lot of times it is just just kind of a silly mistake that people make. And try that first. And if that doesn't work, then yeah, technically, if the person doesn't get the answers right, then Earth cache owner or a virtual owner or what have you is within their rights to ultimately delete the log.
Yeah, I've only had that happen once on the Earth cache I own, where somebody was off and said, take another look at that, and they came back with the right answer. So
that's pretty good. And I'm pretty lenient with my answers, but I think I know what Wino Seattle is getting at, because if it's the Earth cache I'm thinking of, I think I know where he's going with that. That answers, he's probably getting some answers that are really out in left field that people just aren't really paying attention when they're at ground zero, if they even were at ground zero. And I think that's the balance, is, if I understand, Chris, where you were going with that, is that you want to balance the, did you actually even try, versus, people who are trying and the intent is there. Maybe they just don't understand the geology, or maybe they missed something while they're there, and prompt them a little bit to see if you get them close enough. But if it's apparent in their answers that, okay, they were there and they tried, I never worry about it. If it's, obviously they're making a try. If they get something wrong, they get something wrong. It's that's the way it is. But I think if they're way off, and it's, Winos this thing, if it's way off, I like your advice, Chris, of just give them a prompt. Say, you want to try that again?
Yeah. Now, on my Earth cache, there's one question that is right on the board. All you have to do is read it. But if you can't get that one right, then anyway, okay. I promised to reread something.
Okay.
And did you know Alberta's Parkland County just launched a 2-part geo tour? That's right. The first set of geocaches was released on May 8th. The rest will launch at summer's end. Upon completion of both series, geocachers can receive a 2-part trackable badge. Celebrate Parkland County's pristine lakes and rivers, beautiful wilderness, and quaint hamlets. And be sure to share your experience using #ExploreParkland. See, I can do it.
Well done.
Okay. Max says, I'd love to find a glacial erratic someday.
Come caching in the Northwest. You'll trip over them.
Exactly. Maybe a waterfall to go with that. Because, we hardly find them. Well, okay, there was a time I couldn't find a glacial erratic, and I was standing in front of it. Anyway, it was completely covered with ivy. I didn't know it was a glacial erratic. Oh, that's the rock.
Hill.
And it was huge. Okay.
Is that the one out on Whidbey Island that you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that one is like, you don't realize you're looking at it until it's like, oh, there it is.
Wait, it's where? Oh, that.
I love caching on Whidbey Island.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know where I can learn about the Lake Missoula flood? That's another
one. Do a pocket query of Earth caches.
Oh, yeah.
Too much.
That's funny. The Lake Missoula flood. I love it. All right. Well, how are we doing? Are we running out of steam?
Yes. Stephen Winter. I'm sorry, Stephen. I don't know your geocaching name. I was surprised to see a new glacial erratic published.
Slip of the fingers, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I know the exact one he's talking about, and I was surprised too. I think there were so many erratic Earth caches that there was a de facto guideline. I don't even know if it was specifically in the guidelines of, like, you can't publish glacial erratic Earth caches anymore.
Yeah.
It was the Winter Trio. There you go. Well, folks, thanks a lot for sticking with us. We appreciate each and every one of you. You want to stay tuned for show 200. It's in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. But until next week, make sure you get out and get caching in the Northwest.